Is telling states to be ready for millions of doses of a coronavirus vaccine by the end of October. But who will be the first to get it? ABC 10 News anchor Derek Stahl is going in depth on some newly leaked documents.
Right now, there are 3 COVID vaccines in the final stage of clinical trials in the U.S. And in newly leaked documents, the CDC told states that 1 or 2 of these vaccines could begin rolling out in October. Under the most optimistic scenario, the CDC projects there could be about 3 million doses ready by the end of October, growing to as many as 78 million total by the end of 2020, although experts are skeptical.
That number of millions of doses of vaccines by the end of the year is extremely optimistic.
At the same time, the National Academies of Sciences released a draft proposal this week for distributing COVID vaccines in 4 phases. In the beginning of phase 1, frontline healthcare workers and first responders.
When there is a pandemic, you want to make sure that you have enough people that can take care of those that are sick.
The National Academies estimates there are about 17 million people in that category. In the second half of phase 1, people with multiple high-risk factors for COVID-19 and older adults in nursing homes and other group living settings. There are about 27 million people in this category.
75 to 80% of folks who died from COVID had 2 or more comorbidities. It would make sense that you would include a segment of the population that's at risk of doing the worst, which is dying ultimately.
In phase 2, critical workers in high-risk industries, people like grocery store workers, bus drivers, mail carriers, also teachers, homeless people, prisoners, people with moderately risky underlying conditions like high blood pressure, and all remaining adults 65 and older.
Even though people 65 and older make up less than 20% of the population, there have been 80% of COVID-19 deaths in this range, especially in people in nursing homes.
Phase 3 is about vaccinating groups that are at lower risk themselves but can still spread the virus, particularly young people and children. Phase 4 is everyone else. But the CDC's estimates suggest most people will have to wait a while.
You have to remember, these are 2-dose vaccines. 30 million doses, that means it's 15 million people who could be covered. So my guess is we're not going to have wide availability until March.
There are an estimated 44 million people in phase 1 alone, the phase for frontline healthcare workers and people with multiple risk factors. And at most, the CDC is projecting to have enough doses for 39 million people by the end of 2020. Derek Stahl, ABC 10 News.